And Dengba-san follows the crowd, and he's having a blast, you can tell. You know, he walks out, and he's like, everybody have a great time? I know you enjoyed that. Now, it's time for a special surprise. Follow me, everybody, to the back. And he takes us to the back of the house, right? Where there's this area that they've laid out, where clearly they have some sort of performance. There's a stage, there's raked seating, and he tells us to find our seats, and so we all sit down. And there's people from all over the world in our tour groups. Myself, my American friends, you got some British people, there's a French family, a dad and his son, they sit next to me. And so I sit in the front row, and Dengba-san comes back out, and all of a sudden he's wearing like a giant Balinese headdress, looking really beautiful, you know? And he looks at us and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for an authentic Balinese experience? Please welcome the snakes of Bali. I'm like, the what? I'm like, oh, he said snakes. The snakes of Bali. And I look, and there's snakes. There's a group of men gathering snakes to bring out to us. And so I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't, no. No, because you see, as a black person, culturally, I'm trying to not die. So I take all my stuff, I start packing it. And the French guy turns to me and he's like, my friend, where are you going? The show is starting. I said, yeah, no, the guy said the snake's coming, so I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go to the back. He's like, you're moving because of the snake? I said, yeah. He said, why are you moving for the snake, my friend? Are you afraid of a snake? I said, yeah. That's exactly what I am. I'm afraid of the snakes. He's like, such a big man, but you're afraid of a snake? I said, yeah, with a big brain. That's why I'm afraid. It's a snake. Like, you're not gonna trick me into not being afraid of a snake. Like, my toxic masculinity is not so high that I'll be like, yeah, you know what, man? Come on, snakey. Come on. It's a snake. Instead of just letting it go, this guy turns, he's like, I cannot believe it, a big man like this. Hey, Jean-Pierre. He turns to his son. He's like, Jean-Pierre, monsieur le droit de l'huissier, le serpent, parce que du chile, le pardon, chile. And this kid's like, ha ha ha, snake, snake. And he's like, oui, snake. Are you afraid? Snake. What is this? It's a snake. Snake. And these two carry on for like 15 seconds non-stop. Right? Just back and forth. Snake the whole time. He's like, snake, are you scared? Snake. I'm like, whatever, man. You guys lost all your wars. So I go to the back. Right? I don't have time for this because there's snakes. So I go to the back, take all my stuff, and I climb up, and I'm sitting at the top, right? Because I want to see the show. I just don't want to be a part of it, okay? And so I've got my stuff, and I move all the way up to the top, and I sit there. And as I get there, the show starts, and Dengba-san's really excited, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your first performer, the powerful Python." And dude comes out with a giant python wrapped around him, right? And this guy had this cool trick where the python would squeeze him really tight, super tight, so tight you could almost hear his bones cracking, right? And then he'd make a sound. He'd be like, "Eh." And the snake would let go. And then it would start squeezing him again, and he'd be like, "Eh." And the snake would let go. And it would squeeze him again, and he'd make the same sound. He'd be like, "Eh." And the snake would let go. And I was like, wow, this is dope. This is cool. Yeah, they're in a consensual relationship. I like this. This is, And so he leaves with the snake. The next performer comes out, and this guy had a green mamba with him, right? And so Dengba-san is like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the green mamba!" And this guy comes out, and he had a cool trick where he took the lid off the basket, and the green mamba would come out, and then it would start doing like a little move, and then someone would play music, and then the snake charmer would dance with the snake, and they'd do the same moves. It was dope. It was like a Justin Timberlake video, just the two of them, okay? Like back and forth. I was like, oh, that was dope. And the snake goes back in, and then Dengba-san came out one final time, and he's like, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the final part of the show? Please welcome the King Cobra." And the final performer comes out with a cobra, puts the snake down, this is the lid, snake comes out. And I don't know what it was about this snake, but you could feel the energy change. Like, they were all snakes, but the snake looked mean, you know? Like it looked like it hated life. There was something about it. Like the snake looked like it had a mortgage. Because it looked at us, and then it fixed its eyes on the charmer, and he was really cool and calm. He didn't even look at the snake. He addressed us. He was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, They say the cobra can strike faster than a man can blink. But can a man move faster than the snake can think? And I'm like, ooh. I don't know what that means, but I'm in. Because it sounds like a dumb Instagram quote, but I'm in. And this guy had the most amazing trick. What he did was, he got right up close to the snake, right? And he'd put his hands behind his back, and then he would make it seem like he was going to kiss the snake. And the snake would be no further than like a foot from his face. And then he would make this sound, like a kissing sound. And as he made the sound, the snake would try to bite him, and then he'd move out of the way. I've never seen anything like it. So he leaned in, and he's like, come on, snake. Too slow, Snakey. Try again. No love for you, my friend. Come on, Snakey. And all of us are enthralled. Every single one of us. No one's making a sound, no one's moving. And he does it over and over again. And then, to take it to the next level, he closes his eyes, pouts his lips. And I guess at this point, the snake was probably like, oh, I think I figured this out. This dude's gonna make the sound, and then he's gonna move. But if I bite before the sound, I can change everyone's lives. Because that's exactly what the snake does. The guy closes his eyes, pouts his lips. Before he can make the sound, the snake strikes him, pa, bam, hits him on the mouth, right? Cuts his lip open, blood goes spraying everywhere. Now, that should be the end of the story. That should be the craziest part of the story. No, this is the middle. The snake hits him on the mouth, the blood goes spraying. This guy jumps back and then acts like he didn't just get bitten by a snake. Which makes us think we're crazy, because we all saw it. Everyone in the audience was like, oh, and then he jumps back, and he... But, despite some hiccups, President Biden has led the country through some really dark times since he took office. The COVID pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the launch of CNN+. And don't forget, he's also had some major legislative successes. You know, in his first year in office, I might add. You know, he got a bipartisan infrastructure bill passed that would do everything from fixing America's roads and bridges to modernizing school buses, which Matt Gaetz' girlfriend is very excited about. Don't boo love! Not to mention, no president in my memory has given more marginalized groups opportunities. You know, I'm talking about women, the LGBTQ community, the Taliban, the list goes on and on. And I know, Mr. President, that the left is super upset at you, you know? But I think that they should be happy to know that you just recently announced that you're proposing a new 20% minimum tax on the super wealthy. And I will say, President Biden, that you were a big man here, a really big man. You could have targeted Donald Trump, but instead you chose to only raise taxes on billionaires. That was big of you. Really nice. Prove me wrong, show me the taxes. So, personally, I think that President Biden could do a better job at taking credit for the things that are going right. You know, I mean, unemployment is currently at 3.6%. Think about that, people. 3.6%, 2% if you don't count the Cuomo family. And I will say, President Biden came into office and he's done well and he's done badly. And in this room, I know there's a lot of mixed reviews. You know, there was a lot of talk about how the president really respects the press. But what has he really done for you guys, huh? Think of all the journalists whose careers have been hurt by the Biden presidency. People like Daniel Dale. He used to be CNN's star fact checker on TV every day, but now there's barely anything to check. Same for Glenn Kessler of the Washington Post. On the way here, I saw him on the street offering 4 Pinocchios for $1. Mr. President, that's on you. And what about Maggie Haberman? For 4 years, it was exclusives, huh? On the Russia investigation, corruption, the president doesn't read his daily briefings, on and on. Now look at her. She spends all day fighting with random people on Twitter like a common political reporter. You've ruined her, Mr. President. Now, of course, President Biden doesn't often have to deal with the media directly. Yes, that task falls to Press Secretary Jen Psaki. Yes. Glad you could make it tonight. Really glad you could make it tonight, Jen. It's nice that you're willing to come over here and risk getting COVID for like, what, the 10th time now? Let me ask, how do you keep getting COVID, Jen? Like, your boss hooked us all up with free tests. Does he not have your address? What's going on there? The word on the streets is actually that Jen Psaki is going to MSNBC next month. Yeah. Yeah, apparently just being on C-SPAN, the ratings were too high, and she wanted more of a challenge, you know? Wanted to switch things up. She can't laugh at that. Don't put the camera on her. If it's true, congratulations to Jen on your big career change. But you know, moving to MSNBC is going to be a big switch up for you, because right now your current job is to make the Biden administration look as good as possible, you know, at all costs. Now you're going to be at MSNBC, and you're going to have to, you'll be fine, actually. No, sorry. I don't even know why I apologize.